Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at the Unit 7 Day 4 worksheet. We're going to look at the back on number 2. So number 2 tells us a function has the rule so that each input of x is assigned an output of 1 over x plus 3. Given the inputs in the table below, use the rule of the function to determine the corresponding outputs. Graph the inputs and outputs as points on the coordinate plane where the output is the y coordinate. So what we first have to do is fill in this table of values. So it gives us 6 inputs, or x values, and we have to find 6 outputs, or y values. So to find the y values, we can use the output to help us. So if our first input is -2, and we have to find the output, we're going to use the output of 1 over x plus 3. And since x is given as -2, we have 1 over -2 plus 3. So we have 1 over, and then -2 plus 3 is 1, and 1 over 1 is 1. So that output is 1. Moving on to the next output. Using 1 over x plus 3 again, we can plug in our input of x equals -1 in for x, so we get 1 over -1 plus 3. So we have 1 over, and then -1 plus 3 is 2. So our output is 1 over 2. Going on to our next input of 0 to find our output, we're going to again use 1 over x plus 3. And it gives us an x value of 0. So we have 1 over 0 plus 3. 1 over 3, because 0 plus 3 is 3. So now we can write in our output, 1 over 3. Moving on to our next output, it gives us an input of 1. So again, we're going to use 1 over x plus 3. So 1 over 1 plus 3, because x is equal to 1. And we get 1 over 4. So our next output is 1 over 4. Going on to our next input and output set, we're again going to use 1 over x plus 3, and x in this one is 2, so we have 1 over 2 plus 3, and that's 1 over 5, because 3 plus 2 is 5, so we're going to fill in 1 over 5. And on to our last input and output, we're going to again use 1 over x plus 3, and our x is 3, so we get 1 over 3 plus 3, which is 1 over 6. So we're going to fill in 1 over 6. Now that we made our table of values, we are going to graph our table of values. So our first thing to graph would be our first set of input and outputs, which is -2, 1. So we're going to graph that. So we go -2, 1, which is right here. Then we have to graph our next coordinate, which is -1, 1/2. So we're going to go -1 and up a half as accurately as we can on this graph. Our next coordinate is 0, 1 over 3. So we're going to graph 0, 1/3, which would be around here on the graph. So we're going to be as accurate as possible. Our next set of values is 1, 1 over 4. So that's 1 over 4, which is a little lower. And then we have 2, 1 over 5, which is again a little lower. So our graph of this function, we're going to connect a curve because this is not a straight line. And this is what our graph looks like. So we can tell from this graph it's not a linear function because it's a curved graph and it's not a straight line.